Hello and welcome to the News at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities right across Scotland. Tonight, the woman using her experiences with anorexia to educate Scottish children about eating disorders. 100,000 Scots are affected by conditions like bulimia and anorexia. We'll ask what help is available. Also tonight, Scotland's top law officer orders a new investigation into the death of a woman who was previously abused by her partner. Her parents give us their reaction.
She's offered us this re-investigation. Yeah. She will get answers for us.
Yeah, she's told us that.
She'll do everything in her power to get us those answers.
And of course, we'll have all of the sport with Lewis. Lewis, what have you got for us tonight?
We'll hear from Barry Ferguson as he prepares for his first home game in charge of Rangers. And Sarah will look ahead to the new Shinty season.
Looking forward to it. And later in the programme, we'll have all your entertainment news from Lulu headlining in the Outer Hebrides to the return of some big 80s stars. I'm Sarah McMillan. Welcome to the News at 7. Eating disorders like bulimia and anorexia affect tens of thousands of Scots, and they can have a devastating effect on people's lives. Young people can be especially vulnerable, and the number of Scottish children receiving treatment for eating disorders has more than tripled in the last 15 years. Tina McGuff is a mum of 4. She nearly lost her life to anorexia as a teenager. Now she's travelling around schools sharing her story, and she sat down with our reporter Louise Cowie.
I got an email about a year ago actually from a parent of an 8-year-old who was struggling with an eating disorder. She ultimately got a diagnosis of anorexia, and I couldn't sleep for thinking about this because I just thought I need to do something. I struggled myself as a teenager because my life was traumatic and my situation was all over the place. It was unstable. We lived in poverty. But yeah, I ended up being sectioned into an adult psychiatric ward at 16 with anorexia, where I spent the best part of the next 4 years. I wasn't allowed to talk about it. No one knew about it. I was so ashamed. And no one should ever live like that. So I wanted to make it my mission then when I could, and felt in a good, confident position to talk about it, that I should share the story and try and help as many as I could.
And that's exactly what she's been doing, including here at Harris Academy in Dundee.
We went through a family issue coming out at the end of COVID, and that was a big thing for us, especially at the young age that I was at, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I was just, emotions just overtook us basically.
I can definitely relate to what Tina was telling us today, especially as like teenagers in these years. You know that you might not feel great in yourself some days, like you might feel like amazing, and then the next day you might feel quite low.
As a mental health first aider, Tina wants to help teenagers identify if they do need support and where they can get it.
Even if it's not the same issue that people are going through, she still spoke about how she got out of it and got the support that she needed. And I think that's just really important, that people know there is people there to support us in whatever we may be going through.
It's definitely inspirational. Like I was sitting there today feeling like very inspired by her, like listening to her story, seeing how far she's come. It's incredible.
Tina has spoken to more than 5,000 pupils and hopes to have visited 150 schools by the end of her tour.
I don't have all the answers or solutions for this. All I'm doing is just shining a light. I hope that when they hear these talks, they don't feel alone, they feel empowered, and that those around them will have more empathy and to be able to be there to support them as great friends, because often it's those around you that carries you through those difficult times.
Well, that was Tina McGuff talking to Louise Cowie there. Earlier, I spoke to Alex Jones from the charity Beat. This week is Eating Disorder Awareness Week, and this year the message is that eating disorders can affect anyone.
At least 100,000 people in Scotland will be affected by an eating disorder. The chances are that everybody watching will know somebody who is, but it's not always who you think it is, and the sign's not easy to spot. So we're very keen to raise awareness so that people can get the help they need.
So what are some of the signs then that people should be looking for, perhaps?
Eating disorders are very complicated, so a lot of different things can be going on, but it's about a changing relationship with food, maybe being uncomfortable eating in front of other people, or maybe becoming increasingly concerned about weight or shape, or being more preoccupied with exercise and setting really stringent health and exercise targets. That can be a sign. We'd really like everybody to kind of have a look at that and get familiar with some of the main eating disorders and what the signs of them can be.
So for people living with one of these illnesses, what can life be like for them?
It can really take over somebody's life in a very major way, and also the life of their family and people around them.
Do you think that eating disorders are better understood now than they were, say, 15, 20 years ago?
In some ways, yes. Since the pandemic, we've heard a lot more about mental health and the importance of everybody looking after themselves. Perhaps to an extent, eating disorders are the forgotten mental health problem. Anorexia is the one that everybody knows about, but you don't have to be underweight to have an eating disorder. They can affect anybody of any body size, any background. It's not just young women. So we think there needs to be more awareness that anybody can be affected. A survey that we've recently done said that 80% of people with an eating disorder felt that they were negatively affected by misunderstandings, and that if that hadn't happened, it would have been easier and quicker for them to get help.
And so how do we go about dispelling some of those misunderstandings?
I think, like anything else, talking and awareness is the main thing. That's why in this Eating Disorders Week, we're trying to put out that information that you probably do know somebody who's affected by an eating disorder, and it's not necessarily the person that you think it is.
If somebody is watching this tonight and they're struggling, or someone they know is struggling, what would your advice be to them?
Find out more. The route into getting help is through seeing your GP, but that can be a big, scary step. Have a look at the resources that Beat has, have a look at the website. We've got a helpline that anybody can contact, whether they're concerned about themselves or somebody else. And that can give people advice on the next step, talk people through that intimidating step of coming forward and asking for help.
Okay, Alex Jones from eating disorder charity Beat, thank you very much for all of that insight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, for details of organisations which offer you advice and support with eating disorders, you can go to bbc.co.uk/actionline. Now, when Demi Hanaway was found dead in her home in Airdrie almost 4 years ago, police initially decided that the 23-year-old had taken her own life. Her family have argued that the police were too quick to come to that conclusion. It later emerged she'd previously been the victim of some physical and mental abuse by her partner, Andrew Brown. And today, Demi's family met Scotland's most senior law officer, Dorothy Bain KC, who has now ordered a full re-investigation of Demi's death. Our reporter Stephen Gordon spoke with Demi's parents, John Hanaway and Helen Simpson, after their meeting with the Lord Advocate, and asked them how they felt about today's decision.
Delighted. Fantastic outcome. The Lord Advocate, Dorothy Bain, she was amazing. She was very, very sympathetic. She was just, it was overwhelming.
Can you just tell me what she said? I mean, what's the outcome?
The investigation. She's not an investigation.
What should have been done
it should have been done 3.5 to 4 years ago, and that's where we're up to at the moment.
How are you feeling about it?
Delighted, over the moon. This has been almost 4 years to get this to this. The Lord Advocate is appalled at how it's been handled by the police. It was clearly appalled. You could see it all over her face. And she's offered us this re-investigation. Yeah. She will get answers for us.
Yeah, she's told us that.
She'll do everything in her power to get us those answers.
Yeah. What are the answers that you want to get now?
What happened to your daughter? And that's the answers we want answered. That's that. We need
every concern. There's 32 complaints went in. We want the 32 complaints addressed.
Mm-hmm. We need answers for our children as well, our wee girls. And
to make sure our daughter is remembered correctly, because as it stands, she's been remembered wrongly. We will get there.
Aye, yep.
Demi Hanaway's parents speaking there. OK, time to get a roundup of the stories making the BBC News app here in Scotland. Donald Trump could meet the King in Scotland after receiving an unexpected invite from the Prime Minister. It would be a historic second visit for the half-Scottish two-time president. Elsewhere, a 19-year-old man has been arrested after malicious emails were sent to a number of schools in the north and northeast of Scotland. Police said they were made aware earlier today. 70 passengers and crew were evacuated from a train near Dundee after a fire in a power car. The blaze broke out close to the Tay Bridge just shortly before 11 o'clock this morning. And a closure threatened Highland School with just 2 pupils is now expected to stay open. Councillors said Durer Primary near Fort William was important as a hub for the community. And for more information on all of these stories, you can scan the QR code, which you can see here on the screen for you now, and that'll take you to the BBC Scotland News website. Now, the bilingual BBC thriller The Island has been a huge hit since its debut in January, attracting a record number of viewers. It's broadcast in both Gaelic and English and stars Saoirse Groundsell as a woman who returns to the Isle of Lewis after years away and becomes embroiled in a murder mystery. The success of The Island has now led to the Scottish Government to boost funding for Gaelic broadcasting by £1.8 million. Well, earlier I spoke to Donald Campbell from MG Alba, the organisation behind BBC Alba and The Island, and I asked him what this new funding will mean for Gaelic broadcasting.
Well, it's a great boost, and for us it removes just some of the jeopardy around constantly wondering where's your money coming from, is it enough? So it gives us 6 months, 9 months of being able just to focus on the job, and everything will go on screen. Everything will be in the form of drama, some of it short form, drama development, comedy, and a few other things as well. So it is a great boost.
And this has sort of come off the back of the drama The Island. That has had such broad appeal. Why do you think that is? It's had record viewers, it's been sold to countries across Europe.
Yeah, well, the storyline is great, and the setting is amazing, and the cast as well. So it's quite a different type of offering, I think. And people are also used to watching programmes in other languages, so not afraid of subtitles. So that as well helps with the spread of the programme.
Is that a model you think you would maybe pursue going forward, something that is in English and in Gaelic?
Definitely. Well, we definitely think that Gaelic language content can travel, and it does travel, and it is part of our model really to try and do more collaborations within the UK and internationally as well.
And do you think it was about time that a Gaelic audience had a programme like this of their own?
Absolutely. We saw about a year ago the success of the Irish language film and Callan going to the Oscars, and it just gives a huge boost to everybody involved in the whole sector, the whole language as well in Ireland. And I think this has done something similar for the Gaelic language in Scotland and for the Scottish creative sector as well.
So what are your hopes then for Gaelic broadcasting in the future, hopes and dreams?
Good question. So obviously that it will push on. There's quite a lot to do. There are quite a lot of people that we would like to reach with more content. So everyone knows how hard it's been for traditional television, and there's a load of people using devices that we just want to get content to. And obviously we want more and more people speaking and using the Gaelic language and enjoying stuff in the Gaelic language as well, because it is accessible, and hopefully it can make a difference to the lives of many people in Scotland and beyond.
Okay, Donald Campbell, thank you very much for all of that. I look forward to watching many programmes in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, well, still to come, we have the weather forecast with Christopher, but for now, Lewis has a very busy sports desk to talk you through.
I do indeed. Thank you very much, Sarah. Good evening. The sight of Celtic and Rangers fans in the same stadium for a league match is something we'll be seeing again next month for the first time since 2023. The most recent meeting between the Glasgow rivals at Ibrox in January followed the trend of home supporters only in light of the clubs not being able to agree on away ticketing for a couple of years. But on the 16th of March at Celtic Park, Rangers will get 4% of the capacity, which works at around 2,400 seats. Then for the final Premiership meeting at Ibrox after the league split, a similar arrangement will happen for visiting Celtic fans. Well, it'll be a first match in charge at Ibrox for Rangers interim head coach Barry Ferguson as they host Motherwell tomorrow. His opening game in the roll down at Kilmarnock was certainly eventful. One of the talking points was Ferguson's decision to take off 21-year-old defender Clinton Insiala there in the 31st minute when Rangers were trailing 2-0. Ridvan Yilmaz came on and captain James Tavernier, who'll make his 500th appearance for the club tomorrow, was shifted into centre-back. Rangers won the game 4-2 and Ferguson revealed today how he'd followed up with Insiala to ensure the player understood his reasons.
I had him in yesterday, sat him down, I explained the situation. I've got a responsibility. He's a young player, but he was grateful that I spent a bit of time in the office with him. I explained the situation, why I had to do it. Now, look, it wasn't only Clinton. It could have been a number of players, but I just felt at the time I had to make the decision. But he's fine. As I said, I've got a responsibility to make sure the young man's good going forward, because I do believe that he's got a bright future in the game.
Aberdeen winger Shane Morris says the 10 remaining league games this season will all be like cup finals as several clubs vie for third position. And it is third versus fifth on Sunday as the Dons host Dundee United. Only a single point separates them. Aberdeen won their first meeting of the season 1-0 thanks to Peter Ambrose's goal. Then Dundee United were victorious by the same scoreline when the teams met at Tannadice in December, with Kevin Holt scoring the decisive header in the 90th minute. So Morris anticipates another tense encounter.
We know how big the occasion is. Of course, they're close to us in the table. And we've played them twice this season, both been really close games. Both been late winners as well, so we know it's going to be important to work hard to the end. And I think the advantage for us is we've got the home support with us. And as you saw at Kilmarnock game, we scored late on and we had the support there. So I feel like it's going to be a big occasion, but with the fans behind us, we're going in there confident.
And now, shinty clubs around the country are readying themselves for another season that gets up and running tomorrow. It was King Newsay that won the league last year. Not only that, they won a Grand Slam, etching their name on 4 cups. Good perseverance there indeed. So how do they top that then?
To win the lot again, I think that has to be the aims. Every year we set our standards so high. And not to say that we'll win everything, but if you're not planning to win anything, I don't think you should be playing. So yeah, hopefully a repeat of last year and picking up the lot, but it'll be really difficult. And the likes of Newtonmore, Oban, Kyles, Shiel and Lovett, they'll all be up for it and all be kind of chasing us from last year. So just need to play well, put the work, and fingers crossed it goes our way.
And as always, there's loads more to read and watch on the BBC Sports Scotland website, including previews of Sunday's Edinburgh derby at Easter Road between Hibs and Hearts, which should be a cracker. Although knowing me, Sarah, I've probably just jinxed it and it'll end 0-0 or something.
Bad omen, bad omen.
Bad omen.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Sarah.
Well, as you heard, the weekend is in sight and we have lots to tell you now from the world of entertainment. And Inigo Stafford joined me in the studio earlier.
Well, the entertainment news this week's really giving me Friday feeling because there's so much to look forward to. But how about we start with a brand new musical that's on at the Edinburgh Playhouse. It's called Now That's What I Call a Musical, and it celebrates 40 years of the iconic Now That's What I Call Music albums. I don't know if you remember getting them at Christmas as a present.
I do, yes.
I certainly do. Well, this musical, it's actually directed by Strictly's Craig Revel Horwood, and I got to speak to the star-studded cast, including 80s music icon Toya Wilcox. Now That's What I Call a Musical promises to transport you back in time with its nostalgic 80s soundtrack and storyline.
20 years since we left school. How? So Now That's What I Call a Musical is based around a friendship of 2 lovely girls who met in the 80s as teenagers, and their friendship continued over the next 20 years. And it's about them meeting at their reunion.
Toya Wilcox stars as herself and performs one of her top hits, I Want to Be Free.
such an honour to be asked to do something like this because I'm playing me and I am going to create a character.
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, I am quite a modest person until I get on stage, but I think for now the musical I'm going to play it as the devil. I'm just going to be, you're going to rip that poster off the wall as soon as I leave.
Craig Revel Hall. 2.
The musical is choreographed and directed by Strictly Come Dancing judge Craig Revel Horwood. And having both been contestants on the show, Nina Wadia and Toya are no strangers to working with him.
I'm laughing. I'm still really raw from the experience. If I could turn back time, I would have taken lessons the whole year and gone in.
That whole process, so different to obviously Strictly based, put on a character, you know, the baddie. But in this one, there was laughter in the rehearsal room.
Because he has a bit of a reputation, doesn't he, for being quite tough?
Well, I worked with him in 2003, and this was before Strictly, and he was really sweet.
Edinburgh actor Kieran Cooper Welsh is thrilled to be performing in his home city. He's starring alongside X Factor winner and songstress Sam Bailey.
So I'm from Granton, born and bred, down there. So not actually too far from the Playhouse.
Has he been showing you around? Has he been showing you some of the...
No, Sam can do the best.
No, I can't.
Scottish
I can't
accent.
believe you're going to get me to do this. Right, okay, so I watched a TV show called Balamory with my kids.
Right.
And there was like a woman that was doing a tour on it, and this is the only thing I know how to say, and I hate you, and I am going to kill you. It's like, hello, my name's Kirsty, and I'll be your tour guide today.
That wasn't too bad.
Thank you, thank you.
I wonder if that's what people hear when we talk.
Well, it looks like he put you through your paces there, Indigo. But there's some exciting festival news tonight as well, isn't there?
Yes, that's right, because Lulu is inviting us all to shout with her this summer because it's been announced that she's going to be headlining the Heb Celt Festival in the Outer Hebrides. It's taking place in July and the official lineup has now been announced. There's some incredible acts such as Nina Nesbitt and Eddie Reader.
Because there's a bit of a theme this year, isn't it? It's very much girl power.
Yes, that's right. It's fabulous to see. In fact, 7 out of 10 of the acts performing are either female or they're part of a group which has a female member. Well, our reporter Chris McLennan has more on this story.
With just over 4 months to go, the threads of this year's Heb Celt Music Festival are being finely woven. In recent years, big names such as Van Morrison, Runrig and Katie Tunstall have performed. But as thousands make their way to Stornoway, this year's lineup will have a slightly different look.
As a musician growing up, you can't be what you can't see. So you need to put the musicians on the stage to be able to kind of encourage new music to come along as well. I think it's important really just to have gender balance overall, and we've kind of worked towards that for a long time. We've pretty much we have had 50% gender split since at least 2014.
And who better to top a female-dominated billing?
You know, you make me wanna shout, look my hair jumping, look my heart bumping.
Yep, just a year after her electric Glastonbury performance and on her final year of touring, Lulu will head for the Shouter Hebrides.
So she is celebrating 6 decades in the music industry. She's a Eurovision Song Contest winner. She's sang a James Bond theme tune. She's coming to Heb Celt for the first time and really delighted to be able to host her.
Others on the billing include Nina Nesbitt, Skerryvore, Eddie Reader and Tidelines, alongside some local talent.
I hope that other festivals will follow Heb Celt's example. I think it's become so normal to see lineups that are almost all male that we don't even notice it. So this is something different, but I personally think it should be just as normal.
And for many, the chance to grab a drink or a song with some of the stars on show could just be the highlight of the summer.
I can hardly believe that Lulu is going to be in Stornoway. Maybe we'll see her at the pub, but it's just mad to think that a local like myself gets a chance to be on stage alongside these incredible acts like Eddie Reader and people like that, so very excited.
Chris McLennan, reporting Scotland.
Looks good, Indigo. Very much getting me more excited for the summer.
I know we've got sunshine, music and an excuse to go up to the Outer Hebrides. What more could you want?
Don't tempt me with a good time. Okay, thank you very much. OK, well, it's time to get tonight's weather forecast. And Christopher Blanchett joins us in the studio. Chris, what do you have for us tonight?
Bit of sunshine and the start of meteorological spring.
Oh, great news.
Yes, that's tomorrow. Today, the last day of the month and the last day of meteorological winter. It's a cracker, wasn't it? Take a look at some of the pictures that have come into us, actually. A lovely picture there from our weather watcher, Spagel in Aviemore. Blue skies overhead. A lineup of sheep there from our weather watcher, Jeannie. And some sunshine there over the 4th as well, and more to come. Let's take a look at what's happening over the next few days, because we have high pressure nearby, but also low pressure bringing a few weather fronts towards the north of the country as well. However, for much of the next few days, high pressure tends to deflect them, and that means there could be a lot of dry and bright weather around, depending where you are. Let's take a look at first thing tomorrow, because we've got a weather front moving in overnight tonight, and that's still with us at 8 a.m. with some cloud for central and southern parts, patchy rain as well. So a bit of a grey start. You'll notice across the Highlands and Islands, though, much brighter conditions here, because as that cloud moves south, the sunshine moves in. So let me show you what I mean by that as we head through the course of Saturday. There's our weather front, the rain tending to peter out and the cloud moving south, the sunshine following in, and for many, a decent afternoon, 9 to 11 Celsius. Beyond that, looking towards Sunday, there's that area of high pressure to our south, keeping this weather front at bay through the course of the day. And that means, once again, on Sunday, many areas will be dry. Bit of low cloud towards the Solway and towards Dumfries and Galloway, South Lanarkshire and the borders. Elsewhere, bright, some cloud building in the west, and that weather front just pushing in towards the Western Isles late on. And then to next week, we can see on Monday it is predominantly dry, a bit more in the way of cloud around, breezy from the west, but temperatures not too bad. Always brightest and sunniest in the east and northeast. Warmest here as well, 12 degrees there in Aberdeen, and those temperatures will continue to climb because beyond Monday through Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, there's that high pressure I mentioned, deflecting mostly those weather fronts, keeping many areas dry, and a southerly wind helping temperatures to climb. So on Tuesday, a little more in the way of cloud, a few patches of light rain at times, certainly across the Northern Isles and pushing in towards the northwest later on. And then on Wednesday, that high pressure just holding that rain away, and temperatures will really climb across parts of the northeast. So despite that cloud around, still 15 degrees in Aberdeen on Wednesday. And you can see on the outlook, certainly across parts of the northwest and the southwest, a bit of patchy rain in the east though, dry with some sunshine.
Christopher, thank you very much for the good news. And that's all from us here tonight. So from myself and the team, have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.